it changes how they think about digging the hole, because the hole is
Yeah,
the first step in it. And so
yeah,
that's what vision is, really, to kind of get people aligned with where you see the company in 4 or 5 years. And it doesn't mean that can't change, but
yeah,
it's different than mission, right? Vision is really, I'm imagining what the future will look like, including for yourselves. What does it
yeah.
mean when we're here?
Today's guest is Alan McLaren, a seasoned leader, entrepreneur, and co-founder of a personal branding agency. With decades of experience guiding top executives and building impactful businesses, Alan brings a calm confidence and a deep sense of purpose to everything he does. And today, he's here to share a quote that has stayed with him. Tell me your name and what you do.
My name is Alan McLaren. I am the co-founder of Strata Originals, a personal branding agency working with CEOs, help them build their personal brand.
Yeah. What's your favorite quote?
My favorite quote has always been, it's amazing what you can accomplish when you don't care who gets the credit.
Oh, it's amazing what you can accomplish when you don't care who gets the credit. I mean, it's nice for people to know that we're walking.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool.
But right now in my mind, the misinterpret. Okay, I know the ways people could subject you to misinterpretation is. I mean, if you do work, you don't. It doesn't really matter whether people know whether you're working or not. Just do the work.
Well, the way that I look at the quote is based on how I lead, right? Because
Okay.
I look at it and say, if you're doing a really good job as a leader or a coach or whatever, and other people are doing the work, it's because you're helping them clear the path to success. And so if you are one who wants to take credit for everything that happens on your team, then really they're not feeling empowered. They're not feeling valued. And so at the end of the day, you get so much more recognition by not seeking recognition. It's something that you really have to think about and say, you give all credit to your team, even when you did the work, because it
Yeah.
doesn't matter. If you're a confident leader, then that's the way. And it's the same with sports or your family or anything. If something good happens, let somebody else tell the world about it, not you. So that's why that's a quote I live by, and how I lead and how I live my life.
Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing how much work will get done when we are not obsessed over who gets the credit. Yeah, I love that quote. Why do you think the quote resonates deeply with you? I mean, of all the quotes you could have picked as your favorite, why this one?
Because it just, I think it describes how people see me and how I see myself. Somebody who's a giver in the world, who tries to be generous and kind, and I really get most out of my leadership journey by celebrating others. Right at the end of the day, when we do something really well, I'm very thankful to the team for the work they've done to support that, and they appreciate that it's sincere. It's not. I'm not doing it because it's the right thing to do. I'm doing it because I really want to celebrate good work. Um, and so when we have a success, if people ascribe that to me, I ascribe it, well, we all contributed to the team effort to do the work. And so that's why it lives with me, because I think it's really what good leadership's about, right? When you're a leader and go, well, I thought of this and I did that and I did this and I did that, then nobody really cares about that stuff. It's so much better when I say, when we accomplished that, we did that, even though it might be you. It doesn't matter. You're leading a company, you're leading a team. Good leadership is not about you getting credit. It's about giving others credit. And that's why it resonates with me, and always has. I've had this quote in my arsenal for 40 years, maybe 50 years.
Wow,
So it's something I live by.
that's a pretty much a pretty long time.
It is.
I feel that when people take credit, no, now of course, if you do something, there's nothing bad in saying, oh, you did this thing, yeah, that's a great job, and say, yeah, thank you for noticing, right? But I feel that when people are, what's the word, credit hungry, credits,
Credit
they like
hungry or credit hogs.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, they're trying to compensate for something, and they really need to seek help, right? They're trying to like maybe while they were young, maybe no one really noticed them or anything. Like so many issues, like
Yeah.
that's it starts reflecting on the work they do.
Well, everybody, humans need validation, right? There's no question. All of us do, right? But the question is, to your point, are you seeking it and craving it, or is it coming to you naturally? does it come to you because other people, without your prompting, are saying nice things about you? That's the difference, right? So I've always believed that you do the right thing in your life and then good things will happen as opposed to forcing things to happen. And so if something happened with Strata and it was really good and I did it 100%, I'm really excited to celebrate that and share that with the team. So if I do a podcast and it does really well and I'm the only guest that's on the line, but my team has helped share it and comment on it, then it's all part of it. And they've helped shape me by asking me questions in the past that got me where I am and helped me, so that's where I think you can always do that. And and quite frankly, I think it, especially in the world of personal branding where I am, it's not about pounding your chest and saying, look at me, how smart I am and how good I am. It's actually about sharing your wisdom with others, to use your name, but sharing your wisdom in a generous way so that you're helping people learn and helping people grow. Well, that as well, I get a lot of credit online for a good quote or a good comment or a good podcast. I just thank people and I appreciate them. I had one last night that almost made me cry an old friend from 30 years ago came up and made this beautiful comment. And I'm going, so unsolicited comment from 30 years ago. So, when you think about your reputation, when people think, well, I don't have a great reputation. Well, then it's hard to fix a great reputation because your reputation lasts forever. And so in my case, always having that generosity of spirit is really what I think defines me. And that's why I can go back and have somebody from 30 years ago say, I remember when, and and so the quote is more than a quote. It's something that I live by, every single day.
Yeah. I feel that the roots, like one of the things that's contributing to this attitude is the fact that, from the school system and all that, right? They encourage people to be competitive. Who's the best? Who's the first? Who's the second? Who's the third? And all those things. But in business world, we want people to collaborate, right? Not compete, right? Like if I have members in my team, I want them to work together to achieve the goal. I don't want them to just start fighting each other. This one is like, oh, I did this. If I see that, I mean, that's that's a that's trouble, serious trouble, and the earlier we deal with it, the better.
But it's an interesting challenge, right? Because people want to get ahead in life, right? And so you get ahead by getting credit, right? For sure, for the work you do. But what's really interesting when I was young and coming up in the world, before I became president of a few companies, that's the attitude I had was, I'm going to be the best that I can. I'm not competing against you. I'm competing against me. So if I have to sell 25 devices because that's the standard, I don't care I can't impact what you do. I only impact what I do. So I got to sell 25 so I could be the number one. And then because what happens when you do well, people recognize you. You come out of the crowd, you rise above. And so that's happened to me in my life through performance, but I'm competing with myself. So the same thing when I play golf. I play with a buddy of mine who's a very good golfer. I'm really not competing against him. I'm competing against me. I know what I'm capable of. And if I don't perform to my level and he beats me and I play at my level, then what else can I do? I can't punch him. I can't hurt him. So it's the same in a career. I look at it saying, if your task is to do this, do it the absolute best you can. It doesn't mean you can't help somebody else, because if they do well and you do well, fantastic. If you're number one and number two and you help them, that person might be your boss one day. Wow, what will happen then? But if you do everything to hurt them and because you want to be number one and they become your boss, what are they going to think about you? Oh, he's competitive and he doesn't care. He only cares about himself. He's selfish. So it's a very long game in life. So I've always believed you compete with yourself. You do the best you can with what's in front of you and you help others within the time that you have to help others. And you become a lot happier when you're that way, but it doesn't mean you're not competitive, because I'm really competitive, but I'm not, I don't get, if somebody beats me, I shake their hand and say, well done. But it doesn't mean you can't be competitive to still be a giver.
Yeah. It's because the example you gave, right? Let's say 25, we want to make 25 sales in a month, right? And you're like, I made 25 sales, I'm the best. Now, what if every other person's made 25 sales? Now, it doesn't mean anything, right? But what if that 25 sales, you moved from, last 6 months in a row, you've been struggling to have 5 sales in a month, and now you made 25 sales. Guess what? That's a great win for you. But what if that 25 sales, you know you could actually do maybe 500 sales, but you did 25 sales. And that's not really a big deal, right? For you. Now, this is not like looking at the other people. Now, you might have 25 sales, and guess what? You're the highest in the whole region, but it doesn't mean anything. Because you know that I am capable of 500, like without even trying, if I even exert 50% of my energy, I could get 500 sales.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, we're talking about sales, sales is generally commission driven, right? So if you have 500 sales, then you make more money than if you have 25
Yeah.
sales. But again, that's what I mean is you set your own objectives, right? You set
Yeah.
your own goals. If 25 is what you remember, I always believed I'd rather shoot high and miss than shoot low and hit it, right? So
Oh,
right? So if I say I want to get to 30 sales and I hit 28, okay. But if I try to get 25 and I get 25, well, I'm three less. So it's
yeah.
always good to stretch yourself, to push, to find new ways to get to the goals. And you know, I work with a friend of mine, and he always says, "Alan, how come you're never really happy with performance?" I said, "Well, I've always have another quote that I have for myself. I'm always happy, but I'm never content. I'm always
Mm,
pushing." I said, "Okay, we reached 100. Now we got to get to 125. So let's celebrate for a minute, but let's go to the next one because the work's not done yet till we get to our ultimate objective, whatever that happens to be." So that's kind of how I live my life. So I am happy when we achieve milestones, but I'm always pushing to the next one because that's what entrepreneurs do, and that's how I'm built.
yeah. When you said it's amazing how much work we get done when we're not obsessed over the credits and what people say. It's not like, of course, credit is it's nice and people compliment and tell us that oh, we're the best and all that feels nice. But here's the thing. Um, what happens is that when you become so obsessed over the work itself, right? If my team, we have a project we need to work on, and like I'm so obsessed that we get that project done, right? And it doesn't matter who um like think of it this way, like let's just see it this way. If I'm in your team, right, and you win the award of the best CEO of the whatever award there is there, guess what, I feel like I won the award too, because now I get to tell people that, yeah, that's my CEO.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
true
yeah, my
though.
CEO is the best. Yeah, right. So
It's
it's
true.
not like, oh, I'm like, oh, you won best CEO. Oh, what kind of life is this? I should have won best CEO. So I'm like, no. I'm like, we're in the same boat.
But isn't it interesting though? If that CEO is a good human being and a good leader, you would do that. If they're not a nice person, you wouldn't celebrate that,
Yeah,
right? You just
yeah.
wouldn't because you say, what a not a nice person. He's mean and he or she's mean or whatever. But if you celebrate back to that celebrating people, if somebody ahead of you, if you want to put it that way, does well, you celebrate them. Someone below you, you celebrate because that's what leadership is. Leadership is encouraging, validating, supporting, and also the opposite, correcting poor behavior and encouraging people to do different things so they can succeed. At the end of the day, business is not complicated, but people are complicated, right? So we have to make sure that we're fitting those two together,
Uh,
that we're meeting their
uh.
objectives and your objectives to be successful, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's it's very, 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 very important. I mean, as much as we want to obsess about what people say, what people would talk about, and the credits and all that, what is important is the work. And if the work is not as important as what people would say, then there's big problem. Like, we have to go back to the drawing board, because I'm
Yeah,
like, okay, we need to the reason why we're here is to work. Even all the awards, the reason the awards, as much as sometimes they try to like reward, but it's there's this saying that the reward for work and for a good job is more work, right? When you if you do as the best salesman, they give you an award. Why? Because they want to encourage you to do more.
sure. Yeah,
Yeah,
and they also want to. I think it's important, as I said earlier, to recognize when people do well, right? So we have
yeah,
standards, right? So if you have a standard, that becomes the standard, and then you hope that people aspire to want to do that, right? That's the reason for an award, whether it's a company award or an individual award or a sticker that you give a little kid, is
yeah.
really to encourage them to do well. And this is the validation that we give because we know the humans need validation. That is, we all do. I do as well. I just don't crave it. That's the difference. I don't go looking for it. And when you look for it, you don't find it. When you're hopefully humble and you work hard and do the right thing, then it finds you. And when it finds
Yeah,
you, it's sometimes humbling, and that's okay. right? So when somebody says
Yeah.
something nice, unsolicited, isn't that the best way to do that? And that's what I tell people in our personal branding world. Don't talk about yourself. Have other people talk about you
Yeah.
without you
Yeah.
telling them to talk about you. That's the world
Yeah.
that I think is a happier place.
Yeah. When you're not in the room, when isn't that what about what personal brand is all about? It's asking yourself, what do people say about me when I'm not in the room?
Exactly right. It's exactly right.
And the thing about stealing other people's credits, a lot of persons they do that, right? Where something you did not do, right? Let's say someone wrote a really beautiful email and send it to me, and I'm like, "Hi, Alan, I love that email. You really wrote it. I love the attention you paid to details." Whereas it was someone on your team that did that, and guess what you do? You're like, "Yeah, perfect, awesome." Now I know it's subtle, but guess what? You accepted the credit that doesn't belong to you. Instead, you're saying, "No, no, no. Ah, you're supposed to say, my assistant. She's a really awesome lady. She's the one that did it, and I would tell her that you really love her email." And it tells people that no, even the little things you don't steal it and you want to take it for yourself. No, you're like,
Correct.
it's this person, it's this person, it's this person, and it's not like, oh yeah, 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 yeah. It's
Yeah,
mine,
it's
and people do
amazing
it a
when
lot
you
of ways.
tell somebody they're awesome, you watch them light up like a tree, right? They light up if it's sincere and they like and trust you, then they accept that as great. If you're full of baloney or full of shit, then your validation doesn't mean anything because they know you're full of it. And that's why being sincere and being honest and being caring, a lot of people don't realize, how important that is as a leader. That's critical as a leader. But a lot of leaders are just tough and mean. That doesn't last very long. It might last for a little while. People be fear and they'll work under fear for a while, but they won't stick around because they're not going to have fun. We spend a lot
Yeah.
of time at work. We better enjoy ourselves.
Yeah, I saw a quote recently from I think this lady Leila Homozy, and she said that titles, positions, they give compliance, but what did she say? Character, something like that, gives commitment.
Yeah,
Right? If
100%.
a leader really has a good character, he gets people to be committed to the vision, to the goal, and everything that they're like. Sometimes you see them making some sacrifices for the goal. Even you yourself, you're like, wow, these guys, they live this goal. Like, seriously, even me, sometimes I have doubts about it, but they believe it. But when you have title, you're the CEO and you're like, oh, do this stuff there. And they'll try to meet the deadline, but they're not committed to the vision. I just trying to not get sacked.
Yeah, no, that's what the whole fear part is, right? If you get people aligned on the goal, on the objective and the vision of the business, they do things without you knowing about it that is good for the business.
Yeah, they
Right? And
take initiative.
that's so important that, and sometimes, even with our teams, they always wait for you to give them direction. And what I tell my team is, listen, you know what you're doing. Just do the work that you're capable of doing. You don't need my approval for everything. You want to do a post on something? Do it, write it. You're very capable. And you should see what the difference is because it used to be in the past, they go, well, I have to wait because I don't want to get in trouble. No, no. As long as you're very skilled at what you do and whatever you do that's public facing is done and checked and all that other stuff, do the job. If you make a mistake, okay, no big deal. Not that many people are seeing it. It's not like hundreds of million people are like, it's not like I'm a politician and, oh my God, all the media is all over it. No, 10 people saw it. Who
Ah,
cares? So,
yeah.
now correct it. What did we learn from it? We learned this. Let's go. Let's move on.
Yeah, and I think taking initiative, right? It comes from a place where people deeply understand the goal, such that even if the plan, even if you tell them, okay, we're supposed to post twice a day, for example, and because they understand the goal deeply, they're like, okay, no, in this context, though, today is let's say Christmas, we were supposed to like post some stuff about this and then this, and then maybe adapt it. There's a trend really happening that's beneficial to the business world. We could tap into it and talk about it, right? Because they
Yeah.
really understand the goal, such that they can be flexible. But when they don't understand the goal, that what you just have there is instructions: do this, do this, do this. Guess what? They don't even know where they're going to, so they don't even know the destination. So they're like, I'm careful. I should be careful so I don't drive us into the ditch, because they don't know where they're going to. But if they know that, oh, this is the destination, and every time like, no, 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 you get the members of the team telling you that no, you're like without them, like if you are privileged to like get to see them talk without them even know you hear them say, no, 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 that's not what the company wants to do. No, that's not, no, no, the company. And you're like, oh, seriously? And like, yeah. So they really understand where you're going to. If not, they'll be doing this thing with sincere heart, but they're going this way. And so you're like, no, no, that's not. Yeah.
You're right, Wisdom. I mean, at the end of the day, people want to know. There's an old saying that, if I tell somebody to plant a tree, or sorry, if I tell someone to dig 5 holes for me, they'll dig 5 holes for me. But if I tell them the 5 holes are to plant cherry trees so we can have cherries feed our
Yeah.
family, to feed this, to build an economy and to make it beautiful, and you're going to be part of that, it changes how they think about digging the hole, because the hole is
Yeah.
just the first step in it. And so
Yeah.
that's what vision is, really, to kind of get people aligned with where you see the company in 4 or 5 years. And it doesn't mean that can't change,
Yeah.
but it's different than mission, right? Vision is really, I'm imagining what the future will look like, including for yourselves. What does it
Yeah.
mean when we're here? You're making more money, you're doing more things, you're leading people. All those things start to happen. You're very much like digging the hole and eating cherries at the end of 3 or 4 years
Yeah.
when it's ready to go. It's kind of a similar analogy.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much. It's a reminder we need that, we should not spend the time we ought to be working on the work, because it's a mental space, and there's so much stuff going on. We should not spend that time thinking about who's going to see me doing this work, who's going to give me the award, who's going to think I'm working. And instead, spend that time on the work. Thank you so much, Alan, for sharing your
A
quotes
pleasure.
and
It's good to
helping
see
me
you
make
again.
sense of it.
My pleasure.
Yeah. Where can people learn more about you and what you do?
They can go on LinkedIn, probably the best place to find me. Alan McLaren, AlanMcLaren on LinkedIn. Mention that you saw me on the podcast and that you want to connect, and then I'm happy to connect with you.
Yeah, yeah. Once again, thank you so much, Alan. It's been a
My
pleasure
pleasure.
chatting with you. And because right now I know your face from the picture, but it's like it hasn't stick in my head. And even the time when I saw you, I was like, "Ah, are you sure it's the Alan?" And I was like, yeah. Now that when I see the face anywhere on social media, I'm like, yeah, I know him. I had him as a guest on my podcast.
That's right. Well, I'm glad to connect with you again.
Yeah. What's the website?
It's strataoriginals.com. And for those that are interested in building their personal brand, there's a free worksheet you can download from the website or even my LinkedIn that'll help you kind of understand where to get started, how to build out the thinking process for your personal brand. So that's a great place to start. And if you have any questions, of course, always reach out to me. I'm always available.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Alan.
Nice to be with you, Wisdom.
Yeah, thanks for listening to Relatable Wisdom. If today's story moved you, share it with someone who needs it and leave us a quick review. It really helps. Want more behind the scenes, insights, and extra wisdom from our guests? Join the free newsletter at relatablewisdom.com/join to stay connected. Don't forget to subscribe to the show. And until next time, stay curious, stay grounded, and keep growing.